Hey, what's up, everybody? Tip Tips Podcast back at you again with a brand new motherfucking episode. As always, I'm Eduardo, one of your hosts for this lovely podcast. And as always, I have my boy Brett up in the motherfucking virtual studio. Here we are again, man. Back in the fucking in virtual reality, you know. Oh, what are we sipping on today? Tell the people what you're sipping on today.
We are sipping the Federalist. Okay. And it's a Cab Sauv.
Cab Sauv.
Yeah, just to drink away my depression.
Jesus Christ. All right, so we want to go fucking nose dive in straight to what's going on currently. So
it's a mess.
It's a mess. Okay, so why would you say it's a mess? Let's go into that.
Oh, hold on. We have another participant.
Show. What's up, Scott?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
It's going good, brother. It's going good. Well, I'm kind of worried about. I know, right? No time no see. I'm glad that you're here because Brett's over here drinking his life away because of the results of the election, he said. So I'm kind of worried about him. So here we are, trying to have a good session, trying to talk him off the legs. It's going to be okay. But so far, he said he's already feeling the new America.
Yeah, I want my
right. Tell the story. Tell the story, just real quick.
Who, me?
Yeah, about like the how loud does the music have to be?
Oh, next door?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we're getting ready for this meeting. You guys might hear some bass, and we've got some authentic Mexican music playing next door with heavy bass. And I was telling Eddie, I said, I think they're celebrating the Biden victory. And these neighbors, I never see them. They never talk to me. I mean, we're always, smiling and like, hey, hello, but man, these guys party so hard on the weekends. So I think with this Biden victory, we have like 10 cars parked right in front of our street here. And I
that's crazy.
Like making all kinds of noises next door. So I called the cops and I'm like, hey, how loud does a party need to be in this new America that we're living in?
As you can see, he's drinking to that, so he's kind of trying to dwindle down on that so he can pass out.
He says, alcohol, we can come by, but you sound like a pretty reasonable guy that might want to let a little bit more time go before we make a visit.
So you were saying
the only
before.
Thing,
okay,
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say the only thing that Brett keeps sending me is not my president. So I knew the drinking was going to start sooner or later. So,
well, I said that as a joke, right? Because every
no, for
time
sure,
the president gets elected, the other side, the losing side, always sends these memes with a picture of the president-elect. Not my president. It's one of the stupidest things that we do as a country, but I had to do it with Scott. I had to let him know, hey, not my president.
Say, as you can see from the colors in his background, fucking that MAGA red,
MAGA. I will always live in a MAGA America.
Right. I got a little red on my microphone, so technically I'm kind of in that pool too. We see red and blue. It's all high quality, baby.
Hey, at the end of the day, we're all red, white, and blue. So
right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what did you guys think about the election? Was it like, I know that last episode we talked about, it was we were expecting a chaotic show. What did you guys think?
Here's my thing. I at first I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump honestly takes this by a couple points, electoral points or votes, whatever you want to call them. But at the same time, it just seemed to me the more and more the news just kept putting out the numbers and who was leading. It just seemed like Biden was just catching up, like just slowly creeping up there. And of course, we got the the verdict that he took the fucking election by a landslide. I think it was like 280 something or two. I mean, I don't quote me on those numbers. Again, I just watch every now and then like little clips of what's going on, kind of here and there. I'm not really kind of solely focused on that because I got other things going on. So, yeah, it looks like he ran by a landslide, and I was just kind of like, oh shit, I didn't think a landslide was going to be like the outcome of this on Biden's half. So,
yeah, it says 290 to 214 on Yahoo.
Damn.
Yeah. And a lot of people said that there was actually, they were expecting a blue wave. So a lot of Democrats are actually asking themselves, what happened? This thing was supposed to be, we were supposed to get the Senate. We were supposed to keep the House, but build, basically turn over a number of seats. Mm-hmm. And, they were expecting so much more so many more people to vote for Biden than did. So you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't look like really anyone's super happy other than Joe Biden, who might last a year in his
I mean, he jogged his way out to the stage, so that's a good sign. I mean, he's active, you know. So I'm like, okay, there's hope. There's hope.
I will say, for the people that tried to say that he had dementia, he, you know, had all these things, he's looking pretty sharp for a 78-year-old
Yeah.
taking the helm. And I'm not going to be one of those guys that has to talk shit and, you know, dog him on every turn. Of course, you know, if he starts doing some things that I don't agree with, his policies, I'll definitely call him out. But as a person, he looks to me, in all honesty, like he's ready to do this thing. This was his third time running since 1988, I think. And he finally got it.
You know, something else that's crazy that came to attention. Me and my wife were talking about this while we were watching kind of just the speeches when Kamala came out and then Biden. He lost his wife, right? Like he lost his wife. I don't know if she was pregnant with his son, and then he lost his son, another son of his. Biden?
I know that Bo, his
Bo
son,
Biden.
He died a few years ago, a couple years ago. And that's why he didn't run in 2016, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That was a big part of it.
Damn. Yeah. See, I didn't know. That's like, whoa, it's pretty not
Weird.
good.
Yeah. When I went to bed on Tuesday, I texted Brett and was like, I'm pretty sure we're gonna wake up and Donald Trump's gonna win.
I thought he was yanking my chain.
Yanking the chain.
I was convinced of it based on like all the states that were showing red and this and that. And the next day, a lot of states pulled ahead in blue, and I really couldn't believe that, honestly.
Yeah, same here.
And I thought it was a waste of people's time and effort for the 20,000 people or whatever it was that voted for Kanye West. I thought that was a huge waste of people's vote, like especially in this election where it took 5 days or 4 days and every vote mattered. Like,
yeah,
the people that wrote in Kanye West, or the few people in Kansas City that wrote in Patrick Mahomes, like I felt like that was so stupid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a news article the other day on Yahoo where they were interviewing Patrick Mahomes, asking what he thought about residents of Kansas City writing his name in for president.
What the fuck?
And I mean, he was just like, oh, it's a nice gesture, whatever. But, there are more important things going on and basically along those lines. But I just, any election, but especially this one, I feel like we could have spent our time voting for someone better than Kanye or Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. I see what you're
or
saying,
someone that had a chance, I should say, not necessarily better, but someone that had a chance.
For sure.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I didn't know that.
So, well, you know what? That sort of segues into one thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that, you have 50% of this country, or 47%, looking at the votes. And then you have, so basically the country is split in half. And we are faced with the same thing every time, where you have half of the country that's just not happy with their votes. So one thing I've been looking at is there's this thing called ranked in voting, or ranked voting, where you can say, okay, here's all of your people running for president. So you've got Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and then whoever your Green Party, Joe Jorgensen, and whoever your Libertarian was.
It was that lady.
Or no, that was Joe Jorgensen was your Libertarian.
And then that lady.
The Green Party, I forget who that was. And then Kanye West was independent. So how you would vote is you would say, okay, my first pick for me, I would say Donald Trump. But if Donald Trump doesn't get it, then and then I would have probably went with Libertarian on that one, right? So if Donald Trump didn't get it, then the Libertarian would have got my vote. And then the same thing with anybody else. So somebody could have said, okay, I want Biden, but my second pick is Joe Jorgensen. And then my very last pick is going to be Donald Trump, or they just don't pick Donald Trump at all. And then that way you're looking at everybody's collective sort of views and takes. And now Maine has been doing it, and I guess Maine had some issues with it. It's not a perfect system. That's the thing about a democracy, is you're not going to please everyone. And as we have a growing more and more diverse country, we have to almost live with the fact that we're not ever going to feel like we're fully represented, no matter who you are. And but anyway, I just wanted to know what you guys thought about that, or if you guys had ever heard of that concept.
I haven't heard of that, but you're
Yeah,
right.
me too.
I feel like down the road, like I said, once this country is becoming a little bit more diverse, I think at that point, we implement a system where it's not a totally different voting system, but we add more options, kind of like what you're saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
I think
I
the
mean,
system as it is broke.
yeah.
You
Do I think the system's broke? I mean, it's everything. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. Let's just put that out there, right? I think there was sort of a lot of misunderstandings on just how things were going, because every state's a little bit different, right, on how they're supposed to receive their ballots and all that. So people have to really do their due diligence to really look up like the facts and the laws, or however they're gonna roll in whatever states you're in, you're voting in. You know what I'm saying? So if there's a deadline in each state, it's like you are responsible as a citizen to know, okay, when those deadlines are in, when you have to have your ballot in and all that. And at the same time, the people that are counting those ballots, they have to know, okay, we need to have these counted by, or try to at least have these ballots counted by this day or whatever. Because I mean, think about it, we're human beings at the end of the day, and everybody's counting these things manually. It's like we're not all robots where they're gonna fucking be 100% accurate all the time. There's human error. It's just the fucking truth. So
Well,
I mean,
like too, I was listening on CNN, and they were on the way to work one day, and they were saying that what takes time too is people that don't clearly circle in the ballot, or people like the ballot's torn or ripped or bent, and the machine can't read it. So then someone has to manually look at it. If they think one way, they have to call someone else over to verify that they think that, and if there's still debate, they have to hold it up and get a vote in the room essentially to see what way the ballot gets counted for. And I mean, how many people don't fill the ballot in all the way? Like, how many times is that happening where people are having to stop and manually walk over and look at all these ballots? Like, how many times a day is that happening?
yeah, and also too, to look at that list, because I mean, I looked at it and you see all these names of the candidates. I mean, I didn't do my research to look at every single one and what they do. It's like, so I can understand from that perspective. So you're right. I mean, how many of those are going to be fully filled out? You know what I'm saying? So that's just my opinion on that. But yeah, so
I think, yeah, it's when you're talking about the voting on time and signature, do all that. I get that now, because some people they make those mistakes or whatever. But what I want to see is because now I think that just like 9/11 changed everything with flight and with everything, I think COVID has changed everything about our world. I think we are going to rely on technology more than we ever have, and that means we need to trust technology more than we ever have.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, but Jack Dorsey, Twitter, Facebook, they haven't given us enough trust to, I say us as people that are on the right end of the spectrum. They were suppressing Trump's voice. But before I go on that, I want to talk about the vote. So if someone is caught cheating with their vote, I think that we really have to let people know how serious of a thing that is. Because if you say it's okay, there's 2,000 people that voted twice, right? And I was afraid of it happening on the Republican side. I was afraid because Trump did say, he doesn't trust the mail-in ballot, but put in the mail-in ballot and vote in person. So he was essentially asking people to commit a federal crime. And that's exactly what I'm saying, is that people that do that, deliberately do that, vote twice, or steal the neighbors' mails. There was so many issues of people that had their ballots taken from them, and someone voted for them, and then someone will say, no, I did not vote. Someone stole my ballot, but then it showed that they voted. Then there were people that were 17 and they were voting. And I get it when it's such a contested, a lot of contention around this election. I get it, but it shouldn't ever be allowed to cheat. So I do hope that anybody who cheated, who is found to have cheated, I hope that they are severely punished by the law, because we have to be able to trust this system. And I also don't like the fact that you had places like Detroit that were covering up their windows, that, in a time where we need more transparency than ever. I just, that's the type of stuff that we have to talk about now when during elections, and not just during the elections. It's got to be, okay, now this election's over. By the time by 2024, by that next election, what are the milestones we need to meet?
Improvements that we can make
So
for the
that
next
when
round. Yeah,
we
for
get
sure.
to the polls, we aren't playing this game again.
And I think that's one of the things I kind of want to also kind of put hand in hand. We were talking this a little bit off air, and it's always so hard to kind of keep these topics kind of offhand to really talk about it, like, when we're not recording the podcast. But it also goes kind of hand in hand too, like when we talk about taxes. Like I'm pretty like kind of like pretty blown away that we haven't had a system or something in place to where like we can each individually be able to look at where our taxes go to and how they're really used. And we were talking about a little bit about that, Brett, like I said earlier. And the same thing with voting. I can see it maybe being moved into a virtual thing where like you only get one sent to you like virtually and you vote like that. But then of course you have to worry about the fact like hacking could be into the discussion as well, where we can get hacked and there could be duplicate votes put out there for X party or whatever. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I feel like next year or the next time around we definitely need to make improvements and definitely just improve the whole, just how it works to make it where it's fair and an even playing field. So yeah, totally agree with you on that.
100%. So Scott, tell us about some things up in California. Are there any referendums that got passed or anything like that
Any
were
drugs?
surprising?
Well, nothing as exciting as in Portland, but
Oh, dude,
What happened in Portland? I haven't heard.
I haven't heard.
well,
hair
the
on.
most exciting thing, exactly. The most exciting thing, excuse me, that happened, or I guess the most controversial, was the Proposition 22, where that would have the Uber and Lyft drivers become part of the company and be, get benefits and things like that.
Yep.
I can't remember. Was that up there in Washington also?
No, it was only California.
It was just
Yeah.
California, right? And
I
that was
heard about
completely
that,
funded. Yeah, it was completely funded by those companies, and I was super against that. I was super against the employees becoming, or the contracted drivers becoming employees, because I feel like you signed up knowing what you were getting into, and people are saying I do this full time, I don't have benefits, things like that, and it's not fair that these companies paid $186 million to fund this proposition. But my thoughts and a lot of thoughts of people that in my industry, in the restaurant industry, that work with me, thought that you know what you're going into. Like, yes, maybe some people did not have a choice because of COVID hitting and everyone was just trying to get something, but a lot of people are doing it because it's just an easy way to make some side money on the weekends or whatever. That you don't sign up to do Grubhub or Uber Eats because that's your career. You do it because it's a quick way to get some cash in your pocket. And so there's a lot of uproar with in California, and I think they were probably maybe like going on strike or something too, because on yesterday when I was working, they were slow as hell coming to pick up the orders in the restaurant. There was so many
Oh,
orders not
shit.
getting picked up, and
Wow.
and stuff like that. So I mean, that's the most controversial thing over here.
No, that's one I
Oh.
wanted to talk about in California. I was glad you had your finger on the pulse on that.
But like I said, me personally, I was against them getting their rights, just because I feel like what you're signing up for, and just because it did turn into a full-time job and potential career for you. That's not Uber's fault that COVID happened, and that's your only job for right now. That's just my personal thoughts on it.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't that have been the death knell for Uber and Lyft had they been forced to call
They
them?
wouldn't have been able to survive. I mean, and I don't have any figures in front of me, and I didn't look this up before we got on the call, but I mean, how many Grubhub drivers, Uber drivers, Uber Eats, Lyft, Postmates, like how many people are there? There's probably millions of people that do this, and the companies would be non-existent anymore. And especially with the way COVID has impacted the restaurant business. I can't speak on the rideshare because I don't know how many people feel comfortable using rideshare, but the restaurant industry, like that's all. There's just masses of drivers in my restaurant waiting to pick up food, and that's the way the companies are going now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. You're right. and I know that I've read of stories, like I've read this one in particular out in the East Coast, where it was two sisters that were doing this full time, where they would rotate shifts, where one would work 8 hours and they would rotate and the other one work 8 hours. So that was like their base like income coming in to make a
Mhm.
living. But you're right. At the same time, you have to also think about the other end, where you have to read on what you're getting into and know and be aware like what comes with that. So
Just like with any job.
yeah, for sure, for sure, and especially, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, there are a bunch of people. I mean, you see drivers out there going around that are part of Uber, DoorDash, Lyft.
They
They
do
have
them
the
all.
stickers all, so they do them all. So it's like, man, dude. I mean, if you were to really cover all those bases to where you're gonna pay all those people, dude, they're gonna just drain you, dude. I mean, you would have to be, I don't know, man. They would have to implement something else for them to make that revenue just come in and go out and just like grow, expand. But right now, it's just tough, man.
100%. And I know, like I said, a lot of people that drive were affected or voting for it, and excuse me, they were pushing people to vote for it. But I don't know. I just feel like you know what you're getting into, and you should read what you're getting into, and that's why there's health insurance benefits, and there's other jobs that offer those kinds of things. So
I mean, this is entry level stuff, right? I mean, that's
and
yeah,
I've never applied, but I basically, from what I've gathered from people, you submit a DMV background check, you have a valid driver's license. No, and I mean, who's to say for sure? I see all the time still criminal things coming up with drivers, like sexual assault things and things like that. So I'm not sure how extensive the background check
whoa.
is, but that's basically it. Just like a normal job. I mean, driver's license, social security number, background check, you're hired. And your vehicle
But
must be like
I'm saying like
2016 or whatever and newer.
you have entry level skills. You need to be
Yeah.
able to follow a GPS that a 16-year-old can follow.
Yeah.
This is entry level stuff. No, I mean the only
In
reason I
Seattle,
was
Brett, half the people I was driving with, like when I would be a passenger in Lyft, didn't speak English barely.
that's what I'm
Mm.
saying. It doesn't take and not saying that non-English speakers don't have skills
No,
because they
no, no,
do.
no. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, a lot of people, when foreigners, when they first come to America, they will take entry level jobs to get their foot in the door, to build a
And
foundation
build job history.
to go off. And I mean, that's what I, when I was working at Burger King, that was my first job. I inherently understood that was an entry level job. I would never expect Burger King to raise my minimum wage to $15 an hour, because that was not a job I was living off of. And my thought was always that if you are one of those people who is depending on a job, an entry level job where you're just flipping burgers all day, what is stopping you from getting a skill that where you can really contribute to society? That's what I think that people should get. Instead, we have these, these what do you call them? Bleeding heart, people that just care so much about people wanting to make it that they don't realize you're shooting us in the foot when you force us to pay more and more money. And like I said, this would have put Uber and Lyft out of business in California. At least you wouldn't have seen California have Uber and Lyft.
Or like the food delivery partners.
Right. And so, I just think that we have to start having that conversation where we let people know that, hey, you don't make a lot of money doing this job. Well, look at what you had to do. You had to pass a driver's license test that every single American who drives to work had to pass too. You're not doing much. So
Well,
if you
and
want
also Brett too, not to cut you off, but it's the same thing with um the $15 an hour minimum wage in Seattle. Like people said, oh, $15 an hour, I need that. Didn't do research or whatever, basically got on the ballot almost instantly. And and then from there it went up and up and up, and it rose the prices of everything else. People expected, oh, 15 is the minimum. Now I need 16 because I'm not working for minimum wage. And it just created unnecessary stuff because people said I can't live on 12.50 an hour, which was what it was when I first moved to Seattle. And it's that kind of stuff we don't do enough talking. We say, oh, I need 15 to do this job. Cool. And now that's where that started. And then people rally behind that, and it's a whole mess.
Yeah, no, basically you're proving my point for me. I mean, it's if you want a bigger paycheck, you've got to invest in yourself. You've got, and it doesn't have to be money. Invest time. There's so many YouTube videos that will show you want to learn about finance, or say, you don't, you're just tired of working at Burger King. You're tired of driving for Lyft and Uber, and you want a real skill. There's so many things out there that you could just, excuse me, just watch a video, go to the library, right? But we live in this world where we want everything handed to us, and that I get so sick and tired of that, because those are the votes that win. There are more people that want stuff handed to them, and we live in a democracy where a simple majority wins. So if more people want stuff handed to them, or want or feel bad for the people that don't have enough, and then then you have this marketing campaign where it'll make it look like, oh, look at Robbie, he's always poor. But what kind of choices did Robbie make? Nobody's asking that. Robbie chose to sell drugs. Robbie chose to commit assault on people, on his girlfriend, and you know what I mean. And so we never ask those. We always leave those details out of the story as to why Robbie's having such a hard time making it and getting a good job.
For sure. Sorry to cut you off on that, or I think it really just boils down to just personal, just how one person is, like if they want to be able to be successful and want to definitely better yourself and put yourself in a better position to where you're using this as just like minor stepping stones to get you somewhere better, obviously, and pay you a little bit more and put in the work and time and effort, right? So it really comes to that. And like Scott was saying, I feel like a lot of people sometimes, or a good portion of people, I would want to say, definitely just want all this. I want this, I want that, me, just give it to me, but I mean, it's just that people get too comfortable too, man. Like they just want it to be where they land somewhere, and that's it. That's kind of where they want to top off. But I mean, you really have to want to put yourself in a better position, man, because I mean, just depending on whatever situation you're in, you really have to want to progress in life, and just like I said, be in a better position overall. So
let's talk about more bad decisions.
Bad decisions. Oh no. Okay, no, let's hear it.
Let's go to Portland.
Oh, okay. Let's do it. So go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, all I know from what I understand, and like I said, I'm just one of those people that really just hear about it, read a little bit about it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what happened. I bet. They legalized what is it? They legalized drugs in a sense, right?
Personal use,
right?
Use.
Now you tell me, you're my Google. You're like my walking human Google. What does that exactly mean?
Okay. So the main thing is that what they're trying to combat is, they say that people of color, Black, Hispanic, BIPOC, that they are what do you call that? Unfairly targeted when it comes to drug crimes, right? So those drugs, so they're the ones that are arrested for pot. So for instance, you could have a party, and but the cops are only going to respond to the Black or the communities, their inner urban communities, where they stop a car. I can smell marijuana. Can I check your vehicle? Whatever. And then they're saying that that's happening more to Black and Hispanics than it is for whites. And so one thing they said, okay, you know what? We are so sick and tired of drug crimes, people that are Black and Hispanics, people of color, serving years, decades even, for victimless crimes such as drug use, right? Who am I hurting when I'm sticking this needle in my arm? Is their argument. And so what the voters of Oregon said is that they said, okay, no more. We are no longer, or I don't know if it was Oregon or just Portland. We are no longer going to arrest anybody on just small personal use drugs. So so if you want to go shoot,
it was in Oregon, just so you know, Brett. It wasn't just Portland; it was Oregon.
It was the whole state of Oregon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up as we're talking here.
So,
Damn.
so that's, we'll see what that, I mean, that's the type of thing that, we've already seen what the West Coast, what drugs have done to the West Coast. We've seen it. It just looks like a shit sty down in San Francisco. Looks like a shit sty down in Portland. Looks like a
Skid Row.
shit sty down in Seattle. You know what I mean? So the West Coast, the drugs have already done damage, but now it's just you can't arrest them for it. So I don't know. I'm not very happy about it, to be honest. I think that that's kind of a weird. I get the idea that you want to help, communities that had been targeted in the past for drugs. I do think there's other ways of doing it, but hey, if this, I mean, Oregon, I think that, if they want to be New Amsterdam, let them. I mean, I think that the way that people, if their people are responding to California's drugs and California's tax hikes and California's crazy laws, that they're moving out, and they're doing it in Oregon, and they're doing it in Washington. They're moving out. So maybe that's really ultimately what these people want. These governors of these states want, is they know that, man, we're paying, a lot of money in transportation and healthcare and all this, but if all you're left with are the dependents, you're going to want the good people to the hard workers to come back into your state. But a lot of them are left. A lot of them aren't going to come back.
Hey Brett, your in case you guys didn't know, your mentor, Brett's #1 mentor in life,
Donald
Mark
Trump?
Zuckerberg,
Oh,
and his
Sensei.
wife, and his wife donated $500,000 towards getting that measure passed in Oregon.
Man,
Yeah,
Zuckerberg saying that juice. I don't know. That's crazy. I mean, why would he? I mean, we have to kind of ask yourself. My first question is like, why would he want to do that?
So that was just an article I looked up right here on Google. But I know Brett's a huge Zuckerberg fan, so I wanted to make sure that he knew that about his mentor.
I tell you, I know. Everybody knows where I'm at with that.
Don't make him kill that whole bottle. He'll fucking just chug it straight from the freaking thing, dude.
I brought the whole bottle to kill it.
Damn,
that's
okay.
That's what I got.
Things are gonna get interesting. I definitely, I'm gonna keep my eyes on, what's gonna happen in the aftermath since they pass this. And what's crazy, I know a few people that are from Oregon, so it would be kind of interesting to kind of get their perspective from that. So on the next episode, I'll definitely have to, give a little insight on that, just to hear it from the forefront of people that are living there and see, what they think. So, and also, dude, it's crazy. Excuse me, it's getting crazy now.
It's gonna be awesome when you can just literally drive and you got a needle in your arm and it's no big. Like, dude, hey,
hit the highway.
I can't arrest you for the needle in your arm, but I am gonna give you a ticket for speeding. Okay.
Jesus. That's wild. That is wild.
So when Brett's live in Portland during the podcast, we'll know why.
Oh, dude, I know.
When those pupils are dilated, So
yeah, hey guys.
Also with pot now, everywhere that pot was on the ballot, it passed. Yeah. So if it was on the ballot for medicinal use, I think it was only one state in the South that wanted it. They put it up there for medicinal use, but then every other state that had it on the ballot had it for recreational. Montana, my home state, is one of them. It's now recreational. It's now legal, just as legal to smoke a spliff in Kalispell, Montana, on the lake when you're about to shoot a buck.
Oh, dude!
As it is over here when you're ready to go into your homeless tent in I-5.
Homeless tent on I-5.
Stoner hunters.
Oh man, dude, yeah, that is right. That is truth, though.
Yeah, nuts. And then the last thing I want to talk about with as far as election goes, Puerto Rico, 51% of Puerto Ricans voted that they wanted to become a state, the 51st state of the United States, and they're plagued with it's like, okay, so check it out. Puerto Rico Puerto Rico in its prime had its opportunity. Puerto Rico in its prime, picture the hottest chick in high school, right? Grade A or a straight A student, cheerleader, just beautiful, right? But then she got hooked on drugs, and then she got hooked on credit cards. And then all of a sudden, here she is, like billions of dollars in debt. And then she's like knocking on your door, like, "Hey, could I hang out with you guys?" And the rest of us, we're like, "Hey, we're kind of reckless when we're spending too, but you're really reckless."
You don't look too good. You're in debt and you're a drug addiction, honey. Ooh,
Sorry,
what is
Stacey.
he doing? What is he doing?
Can't sit here.
Yeah. Wild. So they want to become the 51st state, right?
They want to become the 51st state, and the thing is that has to be decided by Congress. Congress would have to decide whether they could do that, but I don't know if that's necessarily what they want. I don't know if that's what they want, because check it out. If you make it a state like Hawaii was the last state that we had, right? And it used to be a kingdom. There used to be a king of Hawaii until it became a state. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Damn, that's something new.
and then all of a sudden, guess what? All the mainlanders were like, "Oh, you're a state? Oh, it's pretty sweet over there. I like it." And then they moved over there. And then now it's just, look at Honolulu. It's just a dumpster, people everywhere, garbage everywhere, high prices, but people love it, because they live in Hawaii. Well, guess what? That's what's going to happen in Puerto Rico. Mainlanders are going to want to get off the grid, or not the
You're
grid.
gonna regret voting for that real quick.
They want that. Oh, dude, I'm telling you, if Puerto Rico became a state, like, I was already kind of wanting to stack some chips and move there myself, minus the hurricanes. Two homes, one on the mainland and then one in Puerto Rico. But in Puerto Rico, currently, you don't pay federal taxes. You pay your local taxes, but it's almost like a third world country, because there's a lot of corruption. They're always dealing with corruption. In fact, this money that they got for Hurricane Maria, they're saying that a lot of that stuff just went in pockets of local politicians.
Oh God.
That's and then nuts. They're like, "Oh, Donald Trump is bad. He didn't give us the money." No, you went to whatever luxury store there is. So anyway, but and then I was looking at the debt. So they are, I think, 120 billion in debt, and then they have 3.2 million. They're actually down on population because of these hurricanes. They actually per capita have less debt than the mainland United States does. But so in Puerto Rico's defense, it looked like these big banks really screwed Puerto Rico over. Like, they really pulled a fast one on them. Like, "Hey, you're stuck here and you can't file the traditional bankruptcies that mainland states can. So you're stuck with the debt." So they won't let them file bankruptcy. And Puerto Rico has already acknowledged that we can't pay the debt. So I think that the first thing they would do if they became a state is they would file bankruptcy. It's the first thing. And that's the first thing we would all have to pick up the tab on.
On top of what we already owe, right? Which is how much right now?
We are as of $27 trillion in debt. And that's not even with the newest stimulus package, which could add another $3 trillion to the debt.
What's another 100 billion? It's nothing.
And if Biden really wants to stay in office, everybody knows the only way to stay in office is to start a war. Duh.
Ah, man. I say it like it's like, another war, whatever.
Trump, that's where Trump messed up. The thing is about Trump, he would have got this thing had he taken COVID. Okay, first thing, COVID was that was the wild card of 2020, and he wasn't ready for it. And just because he was a contrarian by nature, he wanted to go against everything the Democrats were saying, which was a bad calculation, but it was a catch-22 for him. If he would have closed down the economy, guess what? People vote for their pocketbooks. So Joe Biden is actually stepping into a good, I think where unemployment is, jobless rates were 6.9%. Joe Biden is stepping into a good ass economy. Normally presidents come into just like shambles, like, "Oh shit, what do I got here?"
would this be kind of the same where when Obama stepped in after was it Bush? You took after Bush, right?
No,
Yeah.
Bush fucked everything up with all of his
Yeah.
wars, and then we were in a recession, so Obama had to clean it up.
Yeah.
Biden is coming in after Trump cleaned everything up. Trump made this economy really good. On average, people are making 6% more than they were under Obama, which is really good. People are like, wow, that's really good. Now with Biden, are we going to see that with his tax plans? Of course, he wants to tax people that are making $400,000 or more, which is me and my family, of course.
Which of
Just
course
kidding.
includes me, my my luxury lifestyle that I live.
Hence the red lights in the background.
Yeah, that's one thing I think people don't know that we want to definitely make out there. Yeah, I was just reading right now, actually, before we started this session. He's not going to tax anybody that's making less than 400,000, right?
That's what he says. Yeah,
that's what he says. So I'm just going off that. So, and people are already kind of tripping out, saying, "Well, he's gonna drive the taxes up for everybody. He's gonna kill the middle class." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, well, per what it says for as of now, like I said, we're only going off of what he's saying now. That's kind of what we want to focus on. The bold points. Nobody that's making less than 400,000. So if you're not making less than 400,000, or if you're not making more than that, I mean, don't worry about it for now, till further notice.
yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, it still goes to I've talked about it in the last podcast where I think that, we keep talking about minimum wage, raising minimum wage. I think Biden is going to do something on the federal level with minimum wage. But you're keeping your eye on the wrong target. You've got to look at the wage disparity. How do you stop this gap widening that has just widened since the 1970s, where the lowest paid employee of a company was making 30 times less than the CEO, whereas nowadays they're making 400 times less than the CEO? How do we attack that? How do we fix that? And nobody is talking about that. So that's where, back to our earlier discussion about rank-in voting, then that might introduce more parties, more representation to the table. I would love to have more libertarians at the table talking about, hey guys, is anyone looking at this national debt? Is anybody looking at, this, in fact, if we would have had that, we could have had people counter George W. Bush from going into Iraq. Remember when 9/11 happened, it was the Saudis that were on the airplane. I think there's 19 Saudis that were on the airplane. But then bin Laden was from Afghanistan. And then all of a sudden, a year later, we're suddenly going to Iraq. That if we would have had representation other than just Democrats and just Republicans, there could have been enough voices, enough resistance, enough people to chime in and say, this I don't think is, I want more evidence. If they have weapons of mass destruction, I want more evidence. Mm-hmm. And we found that it was all a lie. There was no weapons of mass destruction. Bin Laden was not friends with Saddam Hussein, as the claim went. In fact, bin Laden hated that form of Islam. So they were doing Saddam was doing everything he could to go against that way. So they weren't even friends. But us stupid Americans, we don't know the nuances.
Crazy.
Have to pour me another glass.
Which is his fifth glass here, by the way, for anybody watching now. So yeah, that's crazy. That's right. And you can kind of just say where it's kind of like, involving more hands and eyes into the group, where it's actually going to benefit you, so you can make actually a better decision based on just everybody's, I guess, thoughts, opinions, evidence, all that stuff, so it can actually give you a better backing on whatever decision is that we make as, the higher powers that be within the government, a president, vice president, all that. Like having more seats at the table wouldn't be a bad idea, I personally think, too, as well. So hopefully that could be something that could happen here in the future, but time will tell, man. Time will tell.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know. That's all I have for like election stuff, but is there anything else going on that you guys want to talk about besides?
Man, I mean, I just, we'll just see what happens. Obviously right now we're definitely going to have to, at the end of the day, no matter who you voted for, Trump, Biden, whatever, but we have to think about this in the retrospect of, at the end of the day, we're all American people. We're all citizens. We should all honestly just respect each other's just a choice of who we voted for. At the end of the day, we're not all going to agree with each other. Let's just fucking put it out there. That's we're never going to come to a full 100% agreement. Everybody's going to have a different opinion, thought, whatever the case may be. But let's definitely try to make this the best possible. The outcome the best possible for everybody else. So let's just ride this out. Let's try to ride this out and just live life and proceed.
I want some dirty predictions, some just nasty predictions. What's going to happen? Are we going to go to war?
I can't really think one off for right the rip. War is kind of one of those things where and I'm only saying this because I feel like since Trump was kind of calling it the China flu, like saying all these sending these little subliminal shots. I mean, I feel like all those things are not going to sit well with China. And I feel like they're going to hold that like, okay, I'm not going to say they're going to move in at the right time and fucking do something, but it's going to be one of those things where we've got to keep eyes on those tensions because they're pretty high right now. See what I'm saying? So
I think
that's one
China
thing.
Wants Biden in office. I think that everything with China is going to cool down. Yeah, they're buddies, dude. They're going to go golfing probably before and after
some shit. They're both golfing, just fucking
giving each other
out there in the
COVID.
fucking field. Yeah, and that whole conspiracy, that whole conspiracy about Kamala Harris, being the first, woman president would come to fruition. What they're saying, that's a whole conspiracy, saying that
she's gonna snuff him. She's gonna snuff him.
Pelosi's gonna pass this whole thing about a president being unfit or something like that, and then she's gonna swoop in there, become the first female president. Yeah, so I would definitely feel that fire even more. So.
Oh yeah. This is. Mm-hmm. I think Biden's gonna get snuffed by his own party.
Just go to sleep.
Pillow.
Jesus.
with what is it? Chlorophyll or
chlorophyll?
Chloroform.
Chloroform.
Yeah. The Casey Anthony stuff.
Oh man, the juices are flowing. The juices are flowing.
That's so funny.
So what is it? Let's talk a little about sports since we got our boy Scott in here, and obviously wait, are you a 49ers fan? I don't know if I remember last time you were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. So what'd you think about our game against you guys?
Dude, I honestly I didn't get to watch it.
Oh really?
I was at work, but man, it was from what I've seen and what I read, the Niners suck this year for sure. I think I've said it ever since we got him. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, I was excited to have Jimmy G on our team.
Yeah.
But I've never thought that guy was the answer just based on his performance. Like, he has never done anything to be a Tom Brady, to be a Aaron Rodgers, to be a Russell Wilson. Like, he's never done anything. Patriots or Niners, he's never done anything. And still the Super Bowl was the worst day of my life.
I think that was the final kind of evidence you needed to really kind of think to yourself and actually see that he's not going to do good under pressure like that, especially at the big time game, where he could have claimed. I honestly thought you guys were going to take it honestly that year, but it didn't turn out to be that way. So
he wanted to throw the ball so people could see him as an elite quarterback, but he sucked. I'm not a huge Jimmy G fan at all. I mean, I haven't really been since we signed him, but it was a good game for you guys for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Brett, have you been watching the Seahawks lately or not?
I have not. It seems like every time that they're on, I'm busy doing something.
Playing Fortnite.
Normally sleeping. Yeah. Fortnite or sleeping or drinking. But soon to be making trips to Portland and doing crack.
Oh, dude, sniffing those lines on the way there, just on the fucking off the fucking steering wheel.
Y'all got any of that street grade fentanyl?
Oh man,
no, I haven't. I haven't got to watch any football this year.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing pretty good. I'm surprised, but I mean, we already lost against Arizona right? 2 weekends ago. Yeah, so we're 6-1 now. And then we're not doing too bad.
Russell Wilson playing the Bills next, so that should be 7.
The Bills tomorrow.
That should be easy.
You think so?
I think so.
What? So you think? Okay, Wait, you're saying it's gonna be easy for
I
the
think the
Bills?
Seahawks will win for sure.
Man, yeah, the Bills look pretty good too, though. That's
They
one of the
do.
games where I feel like it's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a fucking
Oh,
battle.
really?
So yeah, the Bills are doing pretty good this year,
Okay.
surprisingly. Yeah, so we'll see, man. So far, so good.
Do you
Hey,
follow the NBA,
do you guys?
Eddie?
What's up?
Do you follow the NBA?
I not really. I watched a few games towards the end. When it, obviously, Lakers took it and all that.
Mhm.
But I haven't really followed it too much, really, to be honest. No.
I want to know
Yeah, I don't either.
how
I was just saying because they were talking about the season starting on Christmas Day already.
Really?
Yeah, because they want to stay like they just want to get the season going again since they're already so far behind.
No shit.
when is
schedule.
it supposed to start?
Man, I can't remember. It should have started already. It should have started already. Because Christmas, and they want it to start on Christmas Day because that's the biggest, basically like the biggest day of the year for the NBA is Christmas Day.
Not this year.
Interesting.
Exactly. That's when it's supposed to start, and they're talking about like a lot of the veterans, like the LeBrons and stuff, not playing right away and getting more rest because of the quick turnaround from the end of the season to the start of the
Sure.
season.
For sure. That is crazy. One thing I wanted to ask you guys. So I had this conversation here with our boy Brad. He's been on this episode, on this podcast before. We were talking about just the different environments we're playing now in the sense of when it comes to professional sports, right? So like, let's, for example, the NBA, right? We're in the bubble. They weren't playing in front of live crowds. So do you guys think that made a huge impact once it came to these final games, to where maybe there were some key players within both teams where they can't handle like that fucking amount of pressure playing inside of like an arena full of fucking screaming fans? Like, and I feel like, I'm like, damn, that's true. Maybe there was some people that could have choked at when it came to, game time, and it could have made a difference. So they kind of, that was kind of luck on their end, to where obviously we're in this situation now, countrywide, where it puts things in a different setting. So do you guys feel like that contributed to, I guess things shifting a certain way?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I know that, I mean, think about it. Like, it almost feels like rehearsal, or, maybe not rehearsal, but it's not as live as when you got, tens of thousands of people filling up a stadium. I'm going to perform a little bit differently in front of 37,000 people than I am in front of nobody, an empty stadium,
Yeah.
And
no matter how much sound you can pump through the stadium, it's not the same.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Different type of energy.
But I think it goes both ways. Like, I think it evens out. I want to say it evens out because, like say you're in Seattle and everybody hates playing in Seattle because, our stadium is just loud. We're known for being loud. And in fact, they've tried to shut us down. They've tried to punish us somehow. Like if we get to a certain level, they want to punish us. And I find that absolutely hilarious. But, and so the Seahawks, man, they thrive on that. But then it goes the other way too, when, okay, now we have some peace and quiet. Now we can focus on this play. Now I'm not going to mishear something. And, but like I said, I haven't, and I think honestly, that now that I'm thinking about it, that's why I haven't watched any football, because I was honestly a little bit bored of the idea of looking at empty stadiums, because I knew that these now are any stadiums allowing any putty? I think
some are. I think some are,
okay.
But very few.
Okay.
And it's very few people allowed.
Crazy.
Whoever played the opening game of the year, I can't remember who it was, had some fans in there, and it just wasn't the same because they were so spread out and so few that it wasn't the same.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see if next year they're gonna have it back to normal, to where they're gonna actually let people in the stadiums, and see if we, can get through this whole COVID pandemic and all that. And also this, we'll go into this too as well. There's a lot of rumors, I think, around here, especially in the States, in Washington State, saying that we might go into another lockdown, because they're saying that. I mean, and it's funny because you posted something about this too, Brett, about how you're like, it's kind of weird that all of a sudden we're having COVID cases, go up, but there's no flu in sight, or something like that.
Not a single case of the flu virus.
That is crazy.
People to see the evidence directly from the Washington State Department of Health. I wanted them to see it. Now, let me I mean,
See, that's a victory toast. That's a victory toast. Pour up, baby.
but that's what it was. I'm like, I'd heard of that in Canada, and I'm like, oh, really? That's weird. Like you would think that, there would be some flu. At least even if they were lying to us and wanted us to believe it, at least, hey, throw in 10 cases of the flu.
Yeah,
You know what I
maybe
mean?
1,000, couple thousand. Not too bad.
But so I heard it was going on in Canada, and then so I'm like, I'm gonna see what Washington is, and then I was shocked. I was like, what the hell? Like I didn't even post it the day that I saw it. I showed you, Ed, first.
Yeah.
And then I waited a couple days because I'm like, let me make sure that if I release this thing, I'm not gonna get eaten alive by the Anthony Fauci supporters. And but I was like, no, this is weird. Like 1,483 cases of coronavirus are being reported already. 0 cases of the flu. And I'm like, that's weird, and I mean, I don't know. And then you think about like, okay, now Biden's got the presidency. Eddie, you're talking about they're going to shut this thing down. What's his name? Jay Ensley. He got elected. We should talk about some of
let's talk about that.
The Jay Ensley election.
So from what I understood, that they were saying that they were already announcing the winner before they even had like a legitimate counting of all the ballots or all the votes for him. So he's already declaring like pretty much a victory.
Who, Jay Ensley?
Jay Ensley.
Because he was 1 million votes over.
So, and then also Colt, who's a Republican running against
Lauren Colt.
Yeah. So he lost his job too, by the way, right? Like
we're
axed him out.
reimagining police.
Yeah.
We're defunding police. And he was the police chief. I think he was the single police officer of his town, Republic, Washington.
Okay.
And the city council said, you're out. We got to defund.
Damn.
A lot cheaper just to hire the sheriff.
So you lost your job.
Woo! It's a hard day for Lauren.
That's awful,
dude.
And then he's being all controversial. He's like being all conspiracy, saying, well, I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything, but the timing is a little bit suspicious.
Yeah. Man, I'm just not honestly, dude. I would say this up front, in my opinion, dude. I'm just not too happy how Ensley handled a bunch of shit that's going on here within, just the area that we're living in, just with the drug problem and just all the fucking bullshit that it brings, man. And I just hope. I mean, one can only hope, right, that things do get cleaned up and just, we do come to a solution with all this shit. But it just doesn't seem like we're going to come to that at all.
No.
Just my opinion. Again, I could be proved wrong, but we'll see. Hopefully.
I think we are always about 5 to 10 years behind California, but we always follow the California trajectory. And what Newsom has gotten away with, Gavin Newsom, I'm completely appalled and I'm shocked. But California is a one-party state, and Washington for the most part is, but we still do have some Republican representation, mainly on the east side. But yeah, we're following the trajectory of California. That's where we're heading. So sorry.
That's good. That's good. I'm just joking.
It's good.
We're going down in flames, but we're gonna but crack is gonna be legalized, so it'll be okay. Dude, you won't even feel the pain.
Fuck, man.
I
will say that going to the movies
legal.
during COVID,
it would not for my own uses. I'm just saying,
wink.
Like, if you want this to like resemble hell, like hell on earth, like, hey, you've got all the crack. Like I always pictured that's what hell would be, was like a bunch of like people just doing drugs and just like Skid Row basically. And then, just throw in some prostitution while you're at it, like just make sure the government's getting their check.
All right. As long as that money's coming through, it ain't.
I want my cut, you assholes.
Jesus.
Hey, can we talk about Bitcoin real quick?
Fuck it. Let's go. Let's do it. Bitcoin. Let's jump into that.
Bitcoin popped this week, guys.
Popped off.
It really grew. Now it has subsided a little bit. There's ebbs and flows in this thing, and it's a very volatile market. So Bitcoin is sitting at 15,000, but I'm telling you, this was after probably a month or so of sitting at around 11,000, 12,000. I got in at 11,000. And so all of a sudden I'm seeing, boom, we're growing. Well, I think that the market is responding to the Biden presidency. Because we were going real high for a while when they thought that in areas that Trump had a chance, and then all of a sudden Bitcoin was at 15,800 was its highest.
Oh shit.
Damn.
And it does so, but then man, yeah, let's see.
Just overall, aren't stocks just going
15
through the roof right now?
Huh?
Stocks, aren't they going up like pretty high right now?
So stocks are doing really good right now.
Okay.
But again, with Biden coming in, prepare for your stocks to take some hits. And the reason why the stock market would have probably done a lot better if the Democrats could have gotten the Senate, but because there's going to be so much resistance now with the Republicans still holding the Senate, Biden's basically not going to, I mean, anything he gets done, it's going to be through executive order. He's not going to get anything passed. He's not going to get his wall or his dismantling of the wall.
Dismantling of the wall.
But anyway, so Bitcoin did really good. I mean, their high this week was $15,977, and it was good. I let people know, like, if I knew they were in Bitcoin, hey, here's where we're at. We're doing this. We're active. Make whatever move you need to make. But right now is your time. So that's pretty cool to see the stock market again. But if you're in the stock market, I think, I don't know. I want to say it's going to probably be a bear market. I think we lost our opportunity to make some money for a little while, at least.
So what's your tip of the day? What's one tip of the day from your financial expertise that you can give to the people that are swindling with stocks and all that jazz?
Well, if you want, let me go and make sure that I'm talking right. What I would do, if you want to go into stocks, you can. But gold and silver right now, gold is sitting at 19,000 or 1,959 an ounce, and silver is at 25.73. So, what I would do, I would save. I would put a little bit of money on the side and start looking at silver and gold if you have the money. If you don't, stick with your stocks. But as we're going to start closing the country down, look at the companies that did really well when we were closed down, such as Zoom. Zoom is one of them. I would look at Zoom, definitely, for sure. And then anything that has to do with telecommuting. Is that what that is? I don't know.
Yeah.
But meetings, whatever, tech, not all tech, but just the tech that does really well during work from home. So do that, but definitely gold and silver. I think that they're going to do really good. Bitcoin was doing really good. I do think that they're going to climb as well. And the only reason I'm in all of those is just because I just love how money is, and I love the only way I learn this stuff is if I'm personally invested in it. If I'm not, I'm just gonna overlook. So as long as I have a little bit of money in everything, I'm gonna know where the wind's blowing. So that's where I'm at.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's a tip of the day, people, for all those that are looking for some financial expertise. Obviously, you do your due diligence on what you want to do.
But we do have to also state that I am not a financial professional. I'm not an economist. I'm not anything. I'm just, a guy that likes to watch a lot of YouTube and porn.
Nice. Awesome, man. That's awesome, dude. What's one thing that I was it dawned on me today before we started this episode was, it just feels like this whole fucking year in a way has been going pretty damn slow. But then we go, like, I was looking at the time and just the day today, I was like, dude, we're already in fucking November. One more month, 2020 is over. Do we really think things are gonna go back to normal coming next year in 2021?
No.
No,
I want to hear
not at all.
what God has to say.
Interesting. Who has to say?
I mean, I don't think it's gonna go back
Okay.
to normal anytime soon, by any means. I mean, with the way things are going and how slowly things are, and everyone's reversing course with everything.
Yeah.
Washington might get shut down again. It's been shut down once. California's been shut down twice. Like, there's no way. And I think companies are starting to understand that. I see a lot of restaurants that are making restaurants that are supposed to be opening up in Q2, Q3 of 2021 of like to prepare for contactless everything. Like, there's Burger Kings that are making 3 drive-through restaurants with no dine-in option, and 2 drive-throughs for food and 1 drive-through for pickup. And Chipotle's opening their first 2 drive-through Chipotle right down the street from my house, where there's
wow.
one person standing outside handing out food to 2 cars, so it limits the people getting out of their car. So
That
I
makes
think
me
with
want to have a restaurant that allows seating, because humans are a social species. We have to talk to
Mhm.
people. This whole charade that we're playing, where everything's contactless. You know what, dude? I'm gonna tell you guys right now. I shake people's hands. I am not afraid. I'm not gonna stop. I think that it's
Eh.
so stupid, and I'm just not going to stop shaking people's hands. And to see how afraid people are, what a bunch of
Yep,
you know what
I
I'm
agree.
You know.
But I think too, with the way the movie industry has changed too. I mean,
Oh
the
yeah.
way they're releasing movies on demand now, or
Yeah.
through Amazon Prime and Netflix and things like that. I mean, and AMC is talking about filing bankruptcy for the 19th time in 2020. But
Yes.
I will say I love going to the movies during the pandemic, because it is the most peaceful thing in the history of peaceful things. Like, everyone gets their wish.
traveling too. Traveling is just a kick in the pants, as my grandma would say.
So
Sorry,
I'll
grandma.
say this for one. I'm jealous that you get to go to the theaters, Scott, because I think the theaters here are closed that I know of. I don't know if that's incorrect, but
Eddie, in California, bro, it's so nice. Like, they're only at 40% capacity, and
yeah,
the 3 seats in front of you, behind you, and to each side of you are blocked out.
Man,
sounds
so
like
you don't have to hear
It's
paradise.
Kanye just talking all through the movie.
Uh,
but
and I
not to
and I
cut you
have
off, Eddie, but that it's so nice to have that. Like, it's a dream come true.
That's awesome. No, that is awesome. At the same time, too, yes, I've read the same thing that the AMC is actually also considering shutting down a bunch of theaters too, and the way that things are shifting towards movies being released on demand at home, where you just pay a premium price of, let's just say, like $20, $30 or whatever.
Hey, fuck
That could be a
Mulan for
reality.
charging me $30. That ain't happening.
But they're
But
doing
that's
Uh-uh.
the
it
thing.
different. They're
So
gonna
so
start
that's the
doing it
thing.
different.
Do you want to expand? It's like a luxury, right? You don't have to travel anywhere. You can stay home, watch a movie, whatever movie you
I
want.
want to get out of the house.
Exactly. I just see as theaters being an experience to go to. And I'm with that. I love going to movies. That was the thing I love doing, especially
Me
when it's a
too.
movie that I would definitely want to see. It's making a date night with wifey. We'll go out, enjoy ourselves, all that. It sucks to hear that AMC is doing that, and I hope it's not gonna be a huge shutdown of a bunch of theaters, especially here in the state we're in. But it's fuck, dude, it's really putting a lot of these companies in a position where just close down a bunch of these places, man. Sucks.
Yeah, but I think that that's how capitalism works, is where if you're, I mean, unfortunately, sometimes that's what can take you under a
Yeah.
pandemic, something you don't plan for, something you can't plan for, that can come through and decimate you. But also the fact that there's people out there, that there's somebody that for every AMC and Regal, there's going to be a new company that says, hey, you know what? I think now the coast is clear. I think that the pandemic's taken care of. Let's open up a chain of theaters. And who knows? Maybe, when I went to the Philippines, oh my gosh, I loved it. The experience was so much better than anywhere in America, because um you went into the theater with whatever drink you had, you brought in with you. I would love to be able to do that in America. I would love to be able to do that. But instead, I don't know if it's the motion picture companies that have the theaters by the balls, but somebody's calling the shots and saying, hey, if you want to make some real money, you gotta sell this Coke at at basically street price Coke.
Not the Coke you snort, but the Coke you like to drink.
Right. Yeah. Not in grams and ounces, and so I don't know. So I always look at, this is why I just love capitalism, is because when somebody fails, there's already 10 people willing to take the helm. Hey,
Definitely.
you're up. Let's see what you got. You couldn't make it through the pandemic. Let's see what Benny here thinks.
For sure. And something interesting too that I was reading when I was reading the article about AMC potentially shutting down a bunch of theaters. This is actually pretty interesting. I think this is kind of where they're trying to make everything, come up with different options to keep some revenue coming in. So they're actually renting out private theaters for rent for $150. You can rent your theater for a total of 20 people. And for the new releases, like for the newly released movies, it's $149, or it could be any other movie release for $99 to rent out that theater for yourself and 20 people. So
yeah, that seems like
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, if you're the movie type, how awesome would it be? How technology is so advanced to go to a drive-in theater, right? That's one thing we can do, right? We can drive in. You have drive-in church services. You have drive-in food, whatever, right? So we're all safe in our vehicles. So how cool would it be to go to a drive-in theater again, and then, but instead of it, like, they send out a Bluetooth signal that connects to your audio. How cool would that be? You know what I mean? Go to a drive-through again.
I think you're just giving a free gem out there, man. We should, look into doing that. Yeah. There should be a possible way to do that. There is a Bluetooth transmitter you can actually link up and plug into your where you put your cigarette burner, the little cigarette burner. You actually plug into that. You choose a radio frequency and you actually link it to where the signal directions to that. So that's a possibility.
There you go. And you could sell those at the theater if you drive a hunk of junk and can't afford
if you want your own personal one, if you want to rent one out, buy it or rent it out, dude. I know we're spending free game, dude. Watch, somebody's gonna run with that idea and take it under their feet, dude.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm throwing it because I don't have the money. I'm just drunk and I'm just shooting ideas. Just me and my squatty potty.
Oh, dude. How's that thing working out for you, man? The squatty potty.
It's like, I use it. I like to use it. But sometimes it's nice. Like sometimes I realize that not every time I need to go to the bathroom, I have to go to the bathroom. Like sometimes I just like to go and just get away from my child. So I'm just kidding.
Oh man.
It's relaxing.
She's at the stage right now where she's super clingy and she wants to have everything to do with me. And so I take her to the park, I do all this stuff, but there is just some times where I'm like, I need 5 minutes of air.
I see it. It's for me, it's the opposite. She's really attached to my wife, and she'll only come with me like if mom's not home. Like, okay, I'm gonna be with dad. I'll be around dad. I'll come to you and I'll give you hugs, all that. But when mom's around, it just completely switches. So I mean, I get my peace and time alone, but
just wait.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, like I said, I told my wife, enjoy all the attention now, because I think when she gets older, it's gonna be different. So
with Scott, I'm already best friends with his nephew.
Really?
Tell us about that.
My nephew got on my Switch and started playing Fortnite with Brett, and was not scared to hold back the shit talking. And he's only 6. He was not scared to tell Brett anything on the phone.
And I was returning the favor too. I was treating him like I treat Scott, So he had this thing where he needed health or whatever. So he had the shield, but he had to drop one of his weapons to pick up the shield. So I picked up the weapon real quick, and he goes, "Give me that back." I'm like, "Nah, I'm keeping it."
Nah, I'm older.
I gave it back to him eventually, but you got to make these kids cry.
Ruthless, dog.
But apparently he had a good time, right?
He says you're his best friend now.
Dang. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Brett, why are all your friends kids? I saw that line on Stranger Things. I'm watching Stranger Things. I'm so bored right now.
Stranger Things, that's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Yeah, my wife finally got that, and I think you can have like 5 accounts on it because
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm finally catching up on all these things like that Borat movie. Did I say Borat right?
Oh, the
The
Borat.
Borat.
Yeah, Borat. I watched that. I watched both the second one and the first one. Dude,
So what you guys think? Let's talk about that. I watched it too. I was on Amazon Prime. It was for free. I never watched the first one, so I'm just going on based off the second one that I watched. But initial thoughts and opinions. What do you guys think?
Sacha Cohen is a comedic genius. I think, I mean, he obviously he leans hard left, and so he's going to make the people on the right look like racist and all this other, shit. But if you look at it, it was hilarious to me how he was like incorporating all these like candid moments into a storyline. Like, this is the story I need to tell, so I need to be able to film it in ways. And it was just so awesome. Like, he dresses up as Donald Trump at the
That was in Washington. When he was in the rally was in Washington.
Oh, Washington?
Was so funny.
Yeah, it was right before I moved back to Cali.
Oh shit! Really?
When he was at the rally, when he was dressed up as the country guy, and when he was staying with those people, that was in Washington, Olympia.
Interesting.
My people.
That's crazy. One thing I found, those guys that let him stay at his house, they were pretty friendly dudes. I mean, sure, we can
those
say
were the
that
Washington guys, right?
Yeah, the Washington guys, the ones from Olympia, the ones that you said that there was from here, they were pretty like welcoming of him staying at his place. Because I'm sure, I don't know if I don't know what happens behind like the cameras and all that on how he is or whatever with the people he meets and interacts with. But
he said he stayed in character for 5 full days. The whole entire time he was there, he was in character. He didn't break character once.
No shit.
We need to get those guys on this podcast. We need to sit down with them.
That would be interesting. I mean, man, let's do our research and see if we can make that happen. Fuck it.
Dude, let's locate him.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, that's game plan. But overall,
I'll finish this bottle and get to work.
Just make phone calls while you just obliterate drunk.
Hey, this is Brett Otto with the Tip Touch podcast.
You fucking just pass out.
I was watching Borat 2, and I saw you on there, and I really liked your role.
No, but it was an interesting movie because obviously, like you said, he stays in character and he just says the most like craziest shit. And I'm like, dude, like to be in that position to where people are like probably looking at this guy like, this dude's really saying this type of stuff out here, in public like this, like when he treating his daughter like she's nothing, dude. It's crazy.
And because he's from a different country, people cut him a bunch of slack. But they're like, oh,
that's
he doesn't.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it shows how unracist Americans really are. Like we really are accepting of people from different diverse backgrounds.
The one that I was dying, the part where he was like, how many propane tanks I need to kill? Or I'm like, yo,
probably need more than that.
That's not gonna be enough. He's like, did this one do it? He's like, yeah, that should be fine.
That made me want to sell propane for the rest of my life.
Dude,
that scene right there.
Wow, boy. I'll tell you that. That was like one of my favorite parts of it. Shit, dude. That's crazy.
I like the second one a whole lot.
And then the guy that was helping him transmit all those messages.
I love that.
Smiley face.
Sup. Yeah, smiley face.
They're gonna kill me.
Oh yeah, dude. That was funny. I say those things were funny.
I think that the scene that that I could have done without was where they were doing the dance and the girl was.
Oh yeah, the I forgot what they call it. Some fucking weird, some crazy name.
Period. Oh, that was so disgusting. Looking like, what the fuck is going on? Oh my god,
that was one of my favorite scenes. I was very surprised about that.
Props to Scott. Yeah, he's the one that was like, Brett, you gotta watch this. But Eddie, dude, I watched a thing last night on Bob Lazar. This is
Aliens and Spaceships.
Huh?
Is it called Alien Spaceships?
No, it was let me see if I can come up with the name. I think it was just Bob Lazar. It was the one where Jeremy
Cornfield or Jeremy Corn something.
Yeah, it was his documentary, and it was on, I want to say it was either on Netflix or Amazon Prime. And but I was watching it, and it like, I'm telling you, dude, like, it's so crazy because Bob Lazar, I've been such a skeptic and non-believer. Like, I mean, deliberately, even if there was evidence in front of me, I would deny it, just because I was that much of a skeptic. But now I'm like, my everything's changed. This guy, Bob Lazar, is talking about the US government has received these UFOs untouched, like with all of the pieces. They try to reverse engineer the ones that they can, but they have ones and they practice with them. They actually fly them. So some of these things that we're seeing are probably some of our our soldiers doing this.
Like low-key, like secret operative fucking,
they're flying these airplanes. Yeah, and they're probably just laughing at us because they're like, yeah, good, we're calling us in. I mean, they're making it obvious, right? Like, hey, Brett, I'm literally right over your head. Please call the cops. We need this on evidence.
But overall, like, what do you? Okay, I just want to ask you, since you've seen this documentary, just the person himself. If you were to have a conversation with this guy, just the way that he talks, the way everything he's saying, like, what do you call BS on the stuff that he's saying, or how would you kind of like? What's your opinion like on him, just as a person, on how he is and what he's saying, the stuff that he's seen, he's been through, like that he's worked at S4.
The fact that they scrubbed his school records was the thing, and scrubbed all of his work records, and yet he had witnesses. That's with what he was trying to come out with. I'm like, listen, the government is dirty when it needs to be, right? It's not dirty on everything, but when it needs to be, it's dirty as fuck. And they are trying to smear this guy. And so, like, something, he got arrested for something in his early life, and George Knapp was like telling him, no, you got to clean up. You got to, not do all this stuff, because they're going to hold that against you.
Yeah.
So he cleaned up, did whatever, but dude, he's legit in my eyes. I'm seriously someone who wanted nothing to do with UFOs, didn't want to believe it, and refused to believe it. Scott, where are you at on this stuff? Do you believe in UFOs, aliens, all that stuff?
I do.
Ooh.
I can't say
Join the
that
club, baby. Join the club.
I can't say I've ever had an expance.
Yeah.
But I definitely do believe. Exactly. I watch too much South Park. I don't want one.
The probing. Is that you guys afraid of, the probing?
But I mean, I think there has to be something out there, I feel like.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I'm actually happy that you actually took time, Brett, to watch that and could just kind of see the person that he is, because it's important. And the reason why for me it's important is just to understand that there's a lot of things right now we don't know what the fuck we're dealing with. And I think that's kind of like the big mystery for me, is that kind of keeps my eye on these things, like the subject of just UAPs and all that, because you're hearing this from a person that obviously, his field of background and his work is he was put in this position to reverse engineering whatever this thing was in front of him, and he had no clue how it worked. He kind of understood the basics of how it was like an anti-gravity machine, and it's just like, dude, you're fucking with something that is like straight out of a fucking movie. The things they can make with this thing is just, it will change like just the course of how we what is it, we move, like in vehicles, all that, everything. It would change everything, dude.
That's what scared me, is this element 15.
Yeah, element 115, I think that's what it's called, right? And it's just insane, man. It really blew me away once I started really doing my research on him. And even till now, now that he's been on the Joe Rogan podcast, he's made another few documentaries just of recounting everything. I mean, dude, I think people are like now becoming more like, oh shit, like maybe this dude has been saying the truth this whole fucking time, and now he's like actually be able to prove it, because the things we're seeing are moving in the same way he was fucking talking about.
Like, okay, so Bob Lazar, he was one of those people that was directly in working with S4 and Area 51, yada yada yada. But how many people truly have seen some things and we just continue to ignore? Like, I know that
could it be like your friend with the Bigfoot?
Yes, I mean, seriously, like, I told Eduardo, like, because of this alien stuff, and Eddie is a big reason for this, why I even explore this stuff, is because he's like, no, dude, you got to check this out, And the more I see it, how can you deny something when literally like these people, these soldiers would be fired from their job if they were lying,
Yeah.
these Navy, Air Force, all they would listen, we don't need you here on our force. We don't need you with this. You're done. That the military would easily get rid of people like that if they were lying. They didn't. They kept them on. And not only that, but they've acknowledged some of this stuff. They've acknowledged that, hey, we are seeing some weird tic tac like objects flying around. But the thing is Bob Lazar is saying we're actually flying these things. We are flying these things. If I was China, I would back the fuck up.
Oh, dude, we'd have weapons that nobody would fuck with us at that point. I think it's like you're saying, now we're the people. We're the country with the biggest stick to where, you guys want to fucking go to war.
Dude, I was really hoping it would be Trump releasing the UFOs on China and not Biden or not Kamala Harris.
How would that turn out? Like if he'd really released saying we're not alone, and I'm just gonna say that. Like how do you think the people would take it?
when you got to drop the dice like that?
Drop the dice.
China might they might rumble, because like what have they got to lose, right? And they're a communist party. It's a one party state, one party country. They might just send all their people out to war and like, hey, we're not going to win this anyway, so we might as well just send you with all of the billions of people we have. I think it's like 3 billion people in their country.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's cool that you saw that. I'm actually surprised that you actually watched that. Now that you have Netflix and all that. I mean, there's a few other cool ones on there that I've seen.
You redneck. Now that you have electricity. It's really cool that you connected the Wi-Fi router and the modem.
Is that now right now we know the beauty of internet? See, Wi-Fi. Also, okay, just as we're on this tip, right? I kind of wanted to bring up another event that happened in that the documentary, The Phenomenon, that I want to talk about too, which was pretty like crazy, that I was like, whoa, this is I've heard about it, but I never really knew the details.
Okay.
So there was Zimbabwe. Where's that? What country is that?
Zimbabwe?
Yeah, Zimbabwe. I probably
It's in Africa.
wrong. Okay, so in Africa. This took place there, right? So there was a school of, I believe, I don't know what number exactly, but there was a group of kids, right? They were outside playing, and something landed on their kind of close to their playground. So now they're saying that there was a bunch of kids that had actual close encounter with whatever this thing was, and they all recounted the same thing. And it was crazy because they went through these like they talked to this psychiatrist, right? And he was going each kid individually recounting of everything they saw. And they were talking about how they saw something that was floating in the sky. It landed right close to where they were at. And they said that whatever this entity was, they felt like they saw something in their mind, like they were communicating telepathically. And they were talking about how technology and just the fate of the world and how they're like they're ruining it just with like the certain things that we're doing to this planet. Like it was pretty much overall the big message about the planet, how there's certain things that are going on that were kind of ruining it. And till this day, there's a couple kids actually, now they're adults. They talk about it. They talk about their experience and how much like they've actually have like a different perspective on like just life in general, on how they want to like, use that message to just do better in the world and stuff like that. But what's crazy is like, they're going through these kids and they're drawing out what they saw, dude. And they're drawing out these figures that are all identical. And that's crazy. I think it was like 20 kids. They all drew the same thing. They all talked about the same, like, message that they each kind of like, like heard inside their heads. I'm like, dude,
you said it was Zimbabwe, right?
Zimbabwe, yeah.
Do you think it could have been Al Gore after he lost the 2000 election?
Well, I think this was back. I think this was way before his election, so I don't think so.
I'm kidding,
but it could be. I mean, I could be wrong. Have
you ever seen an airplane before?
One of these.
How about this guy? He ran for president in 2000 and lost. That's the one. He said the ice scrapers.
Ice scraper.
Icebergs.
Oh man, but no, that event was just, like I said, I've heard about it before, and this other one they brought it up, but to know the full details in it, I was just, I mean, dude, how can you explain shit like that, bro? Like how? Like what other explanation is for something like that? Especially when you have 20 kids recounting the same thing, and how would you think that like they're all gonna meet up and say, okay, guys, we're gonna say the same story, and we're all gonna describe the same thing, that's what we're gonna run with? No, like they
And it's hard to stay
literally,
on the same page.
yeah, to be on they said everything in line, like everything matched up
Right.
perfectly, pretty much.
It's the same thing. Like, I mean, you look at history, you look at all these paintings that have UFOs in there. You have, look at these hieroglyphics.
Yep.
And they've got UFOs or aliens or whatever that could be. I mean, it's like stuff it's sort of always been there. I don't know. I mean, it's just, it's almost like we have a watcher that's making sure we don't fuck up too bad,
Pretty
like,
much, man.
and you look at the stuff like, okay, let's clue people into how recycling works in America, in Canada. Last year in Canada, let's see, Malaysia. So Canada's plastic goes to the Philippines. Rodrigo Duterte, the president of the Philippines, told Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, we are not going to accept this barge of plastic, because the contract was that we would take your recycled plastic and sell it, right? They would melt it down and sell it, and they would, get the profits, whatever. But the problem was, when they would open these barges, the doors would open and diapers would fall out. So people were just throwing diapers in their recycling bins. In Canada, the government wasn't doing anything about it. They were just sending it to the Philippines like no big deal. Well, Malaysia was facing the same thing. They're saying, we're so sick and tired of the West sending all of this recycled. The deal was, all of our, whenever we recycle plastic, we're supposed to clean it out. We're supposed to flatten it up, put it in there, done, right? So that all they have to do is melt it down. Well, so these countries aren't accepting this anymore. So what's happening is, our plastic, literally, you're paying a recycle bill. You're also paying a garbage bill, but they're all going to the landfill right now. All your plastic, all your garbage, they're literally going to the same spot, and we're still pretending like we're recycling. Ain't that some shit?
Sure.
That's crazy.
Especially that they're charging you for that, and then
they're charging
they're not even doing that.
That's
Bullshit.
the thing. So you talked about, I want to see where all my money's going. Well, that's where part of your money's going locally.
About them just taking that whatever fee.
All your federal stuff. We have black money, what they call black money, that goes to the CIA. The CIA is that's part of the conspiracy about JFK, was that he wanted accountability. He wanted to say, hey, everybody needs to be accountable. And so he was talking about doing away with the CIA so that we could show where those dollars went. Well, we have black money. We have money that the CIA gets that we don't know where it comes from. We don't know anything. And as soon as anybody gets within walking distance of them, dismantling them, guess what? You get 3 shots to the head.
Was it 3 or 4?
However many we can track on that JFK footage.
Jeez, dude. Yeah, that was a pretty gnarly video, man. Talk about the last ride, right?
And Jackie's dress that day, that was like one of the most historic dresses ever.
Jackie's dress. God, wild, dude.
Crazy. No, I mean, you think about that. Like, I've read these stories about like the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. That was honestly, dude. In all honesty, I thought that Trump was going to get assassinated. That was one of my biggest fears about his presidency, was that he was stepping on so many. Because even Chuck Schumer told Donald Trump in the beginning, you can mess with anybody you want, but you mess with the FBI, they're going to get you, right? And so I took that as a threat. I took that as, oh my God, like maybe someone in the FBI is going to have Trump assassinated. I thought honestly Trump was going to go the way of MLK anybody else that's been killed by our CIA, JFK, whatever. And I really thought that Trump was going to get killed. I really thought. In fact, if he would have got the second term, that still would have been a number one fear of mine.
So that could kind of go with our dark theories. If things would have gone that route, that you would have felt like there would have been some threat in the president's life at that point.
I think honestly, him losing this election saved his life. I really do. I think that there were people working and conspiring against him, that the damage would have been irreparable at that point if they would have killed our president.
Yeah, regardless of if you don't like him as a president or not, I mean, someone getting just X'd out like that, not the way to go.
Imagine that. I mean, here he is, he's talking about, how he can't trust the law enforcement, can't trust the media. And, you saw how many people voted for him. Half of the country voted for him. And how many of those people are saying, hey, we got to protect this guy. We got to, expand whatever, we got to make sure that his legacy doesn't go down in vain.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, man, hopefully things don't, turn out the best, and we can, like I said, just push on forward and just go with what the outcome is, and that's it, man.
Yeah, I think things are going to be, I can't see Biden doing anything too crazy. I think, they talk about the left taking control of him at AOC, blah, 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 blah. I think that Biden, now that he's finally got this control, like he's finally gonna have fun at the joystick. He's gonna be like, it's gonna be like 4 years of Pac-Man for him.
Right.
Finally, I get to do this thing. He'll have a library named after him and everything. It'll be fun. Hey, I can't wait for the Trump library too. In Florida.
Oh, for sure.
It'll be built on a golf course.
Absolutely, in the middle of a golf course, literally in the middle of the golf course.
That's awesome, man. I mean, do you want to add anything else on that? I mean, this so far so good on this beautiful Saturday night. I mean, so far it's been one hell of a ride.
The music next door is still going. They are still celebrating the Biden victories.
I mean, dude, you got that wine, bro. You might as well just say
citizenship, baby.
You might as well go parlay and say, I'm here just for the wine and I'm here for the drinks. Let's go.
About to invite myself. Hey,
just come home, fucking Parks, just drunk, hammered, just slurring your words. You just fucking fall face forward on the ground right there. Boom.
Wake up with a note saying call 911. You're missing your kidneys. In a bathtub full of ice.
Love you.
That's funny.
Oh god, dude, our fucking minds, dude. I swear, we can write a movie. I'm telling you. All right.
All thanks to Ben Frank.
Ben Frank, the Benchies, baby. Yeah, so I guess we're going to wrap this episode up. And, of course, if you want to listen to this and all the other previous episodes, you can definitely catch us on all major streaming platforms. And, of course, we're back on the tube, so go check out that as well. Just search The Bitch Podcast and catch us on our IG at The Bitch Podcast, where you can catch out our just the newest up-to-dates, just all the crazy posts we put out there, our thoughts, opinions, and everything. You can also go on there to interact with us. Drop us a DM, drop us, comments. We love that. And just, become part of the community, I guess you can say, right? Become part of just the conversation of just what everything's going on in the world today. It doesn't have to be politics. It can be sports, music, whatever you want it to be. Just we're wild and random here on this podcast. That's what we love about it. So we'll see you till then. Scott, thank you for joining us today too, man, as well. It's always a blast having you on here. Definitely, you're always more than welcome. And for everybody else, have a safe weekend, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Till then, we're out.
Woo!